What, another edition of Listenerland?
You don't have to look at me when you do it.
Well, I'm just checking.
Well,
Are we on? Are we there? Are we ready for another edition of Listenerland?
we are.
Friday 13th.
We are.
And you might...
Well, this might not come out on Friday. This might not come out.
Well, it might not come out, but it's Friday 13th.
You've just
today.
exposed the fourth wall.
Yeah?
You've ruined the illusion that this is live.
I don't think that it's live.
Yeah.
You might have noticed that we have a special guest with us today.
A guest.
A special guest.
don't think
a
it's
special
special.
guest.
Oh, okay, special needs guest.
Yeah. Okay.
Roddy the Voice
Thank you.
from Tush.
What a strange surname.
A local band. So he's going to be joining in with the chat today.
I am very honoured to have been invited to your wonderful podcast.
Very good, very good. We hope you enjoy it as much as we're going to do.
Well, I'm going to have a few pints and a nice conversation. But whether I enjoy it, who knows?
You've been misled.
So, anybody got any news?
Well,
Well, somebody must have some news.
Got to have some news.
You've obviously got some.
I've got some news.
Let's hear it then.
Right, so first bit of news today is just have a quick.
Hot off the press.
I'm glad you're ready.
Well, I am. I've got it already there. Look, it's already no. So I was reading today that Mark Tremonti
Yeah.
has come out with a statement that he is going to do a Christmas album,
Oh, you're a big fan of Christmas albums, aren't you?
new and old.
You're
He's got some new stuff. I want to know is he going to do things like Jingle Bells,
Well, I don't know.
but with a Creed or Alter Bridge influence?
No, don't know. Did you hear the last album that Tremonti did?
I didn't know.
It was Frank Sinatra covers.
No.
It was.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
different.
We didn't expect that either.
That's the guy from Alter Bridge.
Yeah,
Yeah,
guitarist and Creed.
Wow.
Yeah, and we didn't see that one coming. And it would all... He did the old American Songbook job.
I guess he's got that low voice, hasn't he?
He sort of pulled it off, but it's no crooner. To be fair, he's no crooner. And
What's the motivation to do that, though? Because that's way outside of his normal fan base.
Boredom.
maybe that was it. Maybe that was it. Maybe he didn't want to be pigeonholed, but I'm afraid you've got to run with what you're good at. And
Or was it not very good?
No, I didn't think so.
Right.
It was different.
There's people that can do that
Different.
that are really good.
Right.
Bublé and people like that. They can do the American Songbook. He can't.
Yeah, there's another question here, though. Is why do people have to do a compilation album? Normally, it's
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's short of money. So I don't understand his...
His motivation.
Yeah.
I don't know. Perhaps, like you said, he thought, I'll do something different. I'll try, see what I can do with these.
I won't be running out and buying it.
See if I can knock Sir Cliff off at #1 charts with his calendar.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to achieve that. But I don't know how successful the album was, but I gave it a listen to see if I could figure out why he decided that were a good direction to go in. It must have been just something personally he wanted to do, because it weren't really working. It were lacking a lot of that crooner voice, that crooner style, which I haven't got. I know you've got it.
Oh, yeah, right.
But no, it didn't work for me. And when's that? And that obviously was coming out at Christmas
I would
time.
imagine Christmas.
Yeah.
We'd been a Christmas album.
What, is that? Yeah, well, you're all laughing at me. You don't even know what tracks he's going to play.
It said that they would be old and new. It did mention Jingle Bells.
So he's going to be writing some new original stuff then?
Yes. Well, it just said new and old tracks.
What? Jingle Bells in the style of Alter Bridge.
Well, that's what I thought. It said,
Come on.
Here Comes Santa Claus and Jingle Bells will be on the
No,
album.
you've been had on, mate.
And
That's
I thought, I
gonna
wonder
happen.
if he'd do them in a Creed / Alter Bridge way, or will he do them as he did with...
Can you see Miles Kennedy doing that?
Well, it's not a Miles Kennedy, he's not on it. It's Tremonti doing it. So I don't know if it's going to be like an instrumental thing, or I don't know. It didn't say.
No,
He just said
if
that
he's going to do it as a Creed style or Alter Bridge style, then...
Well, what I mean by that,
It's
like
not- it's-
rocking it up.
Yeah,
Not-
I know what you mean.
not
But
a-
it's not... No.
It didn't say that he was going to have guests on it or all like that. It just said that he was doing a Christmas album, which I thought that'd be interesting.
Well, Speaking of surprise musical performances, I have a bit of news on Eric Cantona.
Oh, I've read this. Is EP?
Yes, Eric Cantona is recording 4 songs at an EP. He's stepping into the music business. So he's taking inspiration from Leonard Cohen.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
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 I just think it's unusual.
Well, sorry?
I think it's unusual.
It's not unusual.
Yeah, it was.
Sorry, tenuous link there. We must mention at this juncture, seeing as that were a bad joke, that Roddy is a proud Welshman.
Oh, proud and passionate,
There you
especially
go.
in the current era of Welsh rugby in the World Cup. I know it's not a sports podcast, but I'm sorry, I'm a very proud Welshman. And tomorrow is a crunch game against Argentina, where we will get to the semi-finals, and that's where we'll stop.
I think you will. I think you will anyway.
Bow out.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, a great weekend of rugby is ahead of us, gentlemen.
Yeah, yeah.
But we'll park that and move on to your subject. Sorry.
So Cantona,
Yeah.
what's...
Well, he's done film, hasn't he?
Yeah,
He's
advert,
conquered the sport
Didn't he
world.
do the
He's
Stella
conquered the sport
Artois
world.
adverts as well?
Movies.
Yeah, he's done
He's
that.
big in movies. I've
roundhousing
seen a lot of movies.
fans.
Yeah.
So now, to say he's doing Leonard Cohen...
Well,
now-
he's not doing Leonard Cohen. His
style.
His style is Leonard Cohen. You can imagine that.
Yeah, because...
It's got that like soft,
we
slow
all
delivery.
are familiar with Leonard Cohen. He's not actually the world's best vocalist. So Cantona can get away with that.
Yeah.
I think
But he's
Cantona can get
but
away with a lot.
What Leonard Cohen is or was a great lyricist.
Are you saying that Eric Cantona won't be?
Well, I heard his little speech about seagulls, and that wasn't very good.
I think it had flight. I think it was.
What seagulls do?
Yeah, it had wings and that. Apparently, some of his subjects are about phone use and detachment of popular culture.
Okay.
So,
Well, that resonates with a lot of older people.
apparently, he was
Like
sat on
us.
he was sat on a train and he looks across the
I'll ask
other
him.
carriage, and
Those older people, I'll ask him.
and there was a couple sat across from each other, but at no point did they look up and talk to each other. They're just on the phone. So
Yeah.
he decides
We
to
all
write.
see that, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what it's about.
Well,
I,
good.
I last saw Eric Cantona, which is a bit cringy, on a TV advert. Have you seen him? I can't remember what it is.
I think it's for Stella, isn't it? Is it Stella Artois? What
I
is
don't
that,
know.
what
but
is that for?
But it just doesn't. It's just, you look at it and you think,
He's done several, though,
stick to
hasn't he?
football, please. You're embarrassing. That's my view anyway.
He was in a music video for Liam Gallagher. I think it's called Once, where he is playing some sort of like king around. He's walking around. He's walking around the house that John Lennon filmed Imagining.
Oh, with the big bay window?
Yeah,
The big
he's
white...
walking
Yeah.
around there.
We used to call him King Cantona, didn't we, at Man
Is that what
U?
they used to call him?
Yeah.
Oh, right. So that's why he was dressed as a king then, because Liam Gallagher in the video was his butler.
Well, that's a bit odd, because aren't
Which
they
is odd,
City
'cause
fans?
they're Man City fans.
Yeah.
And he's a...
United.
He's, he's a
Big
United.
Man City fans.
Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't have picked up on that link.
That's a bit... wonder why they chose that.
I don't know.
Maybe
You
just
would
a
have
fan.
thought he'd have been like the...
Yeah. The last thing they wanted to do was go with Cantona.
Are they both City fans?
Yeah. Yeah, they're both big City fans.
Right.
I think Noel's more than Liam, but they're both big City fans.
Liam is...
A tit.
Well, that's one way of putting it. But they're having a festival in Manchester, and it's all to promote grassroots music, like, I suppose, like Tush and other bands like that, to promote them, put them into venues. It's a bit like Tramlines in Sheffield. It's like local bands and big bands from outside coming into Manchester and having this grassroots festival all over the city. And on the trams, they're going to have an intercom that tells people where to go and what's happening and what they can do. And the person doing the voice for that is Liam.
Oh, really?
Oh, I've seen a
That's
clip
good.
of this.
That's good, though. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
They
I
do
think it's
it in a lot of towns and cities now. They do it in Barnsley. They have Barnsley Live. And every pub and every club in Barnsley on one day of the year, in the summer, every pub, I'm talking 32 pubs and clubs, have live music all day. And it's really well attended. It's a great idea.
Yeah, yeah,
And there's a link here, if I may interrupt.
you can. You're not interrupting.
Liam Gallagher. I went to see this phenomenal band. And the link is that this phenomenal band, Cardinal Black, knocked Liam Gallagher and the high-flying Birds off the #1 spot on iTunes with their recent single called Tell Me How It Feels. There's a little bit of progression.
That's a good little link.
Wait,
there.
was that
Yeah,
Liam or Noel?
Sorry.
Noel and
Sorry.
It's Noel and High-Flying Birds.
Gallagher Brothers.
Where did you see
You get
Cardinal
those
Black?
internet trolls typing in.
Yeah, sorry. For my imperfection.
Well, it's just not acceptable.
I went to see them at a place called the Woolen Mill,
In Leeds.
just outside of Leeds.
Yeah, know what you mean.
What a great venue as well. Very small,
I looked at it.
700
But it
people.
was Thursday night, weren't it?
It was.
Yeah.
And we had a gig the next night. So I was absolutely shattered. But
Yeah.
what a great, as I said to you earlier, one of the best gigs I've ever been to.
The Woolen Mill.
The Wool Mill.
Oh, the Wool Mill.
Yeah. I had a look at it. I had a look at the venue, and it looks great.
Really good.
Looks
really
great.
good. Yeah,
It's like a big old barn, isn't it?
As
like
the
an old
name,
factory thing.
As the name suggests, it is actually an old mill,
Yeah.
ground floor. Very good.
I looked at it and I thought, oh, I'd like to go to that because I've been singing their praises for some time. And but it was Thursday night, and I thought, no, not on school night.
Yeah, and it's a good trek. But I've got to say, worth every minute on the road and worth every penny. Just I intend to go and see them again. They were absolutely superb.
And how good again are they?
Phenomenal.
That's better. We're getting there. And the lead singer?
Tom, amazing, soulful,
And
guttural.
what do they call that?
Passionate.
Lead guitarist.
Chris Beck, what a man. And there's a taffy link here, right? Because here's a link. And this is a true story. As I know some of you guys have followed Chris Beck on his Friday Fret YouTube channel. Every week he puts out an episode where he talks about guitaring, guitar equipment, various aspects all around that subject. And it's really, really interesting because he gets deep. And he's a very, very eloquent speaker. And he's very knowledgeable for his age of young 30s. But the intriguing thing for me is that I was following that for I don't know, since John Fox, who's, as we all know, a guy who's a friend of ours. And he used to go on about it, and I followed it since. And this guy, Chris Beck, suddenly turns up in this band called Cardinal Black that he put together 2 years ago. I mean, Cardinal Black have been going 2 years, but the singer, Chris Beck, and the drummer, Adam, the three of them got together 10 years ago, and they basically didn't really get much going, and so they disbanded. And over the period of lockdown in South Wales, they got together and they got together and made up Cardinal Black and thought they need a new bass player or a bass player. So they recruited another local guy because they're all from, well, I made a note of it here. Chris is from Abercarn, which is just north of Tredegar. Tom Hollister is the lead singer, and he's from Newport. And Adam is also from Tredegar. Now, Sam Williams, the bass player, the really coincidental part of this is that Sam is the son of one of my brother's best friends, who I also have grown up with and know really well from South Wales, from Quakers Trearis. And Sam, suddenly, I was in a pub in South Wales visiting with my brother, and he starts talking about this band. And I thought, Cardinal Black? No. I couldn't believe it. So I then spoke to Andrew, his dad, and he said, yeah. And he told me all the story. And then I thought, wow, that's amazing. So I started getting into Cardinal Black, and I thought, this music is absolutely right what I'm into, what a lot of us is into, which is alternative rock, but soulful blues, rock, and the tunes, the melodies, the songs themselves are so well put together, and they're proper songs, you know.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'll go and see them. So I went to see them, and I met all the band. I met Sam, and he said to me, Roddy, you're Ian's brother. I thought, oh, thanks a lot, pal. I'm not Roddy, I'm Ian's brother. But that's another story. But it was great. And so after experience a fantastic show, it was even elevated higher by meeting the guys who were so down to earth and great lads. So the bottom line is, great band on their own merit, even greater because they're taffies.
Well, he was in a previous band called Buck Nevins. They had a short sort of period.
Yeah, female singer.
Yeah, on keys.
That's right.
And that were quite similar. And but not. I don't think it was. It's unfair to say this. I want to say it's not. It wasn't as good as Cardinal Black. It was on a similar theme, but I think this is sort of elevated slightly from that.
Well, for me, it's slotted into the kind of music that I love. Whereas with the female singer, it wasn't quite the same. It didn't have the same impact. See, I mentioned just on this particular subject of music and what we appreciate from music. Forgive me, but I watched one of your last podcasts, and what I
You don't have to forgive us.
How dare you?
what I drew from it was that you all started talking about what is the music you like and what is good music and why is some people not into it and other people are. And you mentioned, what do you like about it? Well, you like a good beat, you like a good singer, or all the usual things. But what you missed was, every one of you, which I couldn't believe, is it has to have, for me, emotion. It has to draw on emotion.
Well, I think we did touch on that. We said that it
You
has to be
apologise.
delivered with conviction.
That's different to emotion.
I was my reference was Earth.
Tenuous.
Yes,
I referenced Earth, so like I for some reason went down the route of an electrician that it needs to have an Earth element to it.
Yeah,
I was going to ask
absolutely.
you actually that question: what to you makes good music? So,
What is good music
what
to
is-
you?
What is good music to you?
The answer to that is not a simple answer, as you all know, because it's not only subjective,
It's tremendously subjective. It's subjective, yeah.
but not only is it subjective to each individual, but it's also dependent on the mood of that individual, where they are, what they're doing, how they feel. And this is, I've thought about that question since you raised it in your podcast.
Yeah.
And,
Because I like Pink Floyd, but I can't listen to Pink Floyd all the time. I have to be in the mood for Pink Floyd.
yeah, but there's Pink Floyd and there's Pink Floyd. There's Pink Floyd,
Yeah,
which is melodic, and there's Pink Floyd. Have you ever heard of the double album called Amalgama?
Yeah.
It's absolute, total, unadulterated trash. It's
It's-
just a load of noises. That is not music to me.
Well, there we go.
So I totally agree with you.
It's like a lot of people can't get on board with Captain Beefheart. It's just noise. But then some people do. But yeah.
Well, it's like Frank Zappa.
Oh yeah, I can't get on
A
with
lot
it.
of people think is godly status, isn't it? But and myself, I don't. It's not for me.
No,
I'm not going to say it's rubbish. But it's just not for me.
yeah, and that's music.
Yeah,
Everybody
there's
has
a
a
lot of that.
take on it.
There's a lot of that, and I'm glad it's like that. I'm glad we don't all like what each. Because how boring would it be? It wouldn't work then, would it?
Absolutely.
One
Well,
of the biggest Marmite bands for me is Oasis.
Well, but that's because you've got an issue with them too, isn't it?
No, because
But you like.
I like
like some of their
I
songs.
like the tracks. I just can't get on with them.
Yeah,
That's
but
what I mean.
that's them though. That's not
But
music.
it's
is it?
it's
Yeah.
it's like that as a band though. You never get people saying, yeah, they're all right. You either like Oasis or you can't stand Oasis. There always seems to be there's no middle road with Oasis.
Isn't that to do
Either
with
for
how
them or
it was
against them, aren't
marketed
you?
though in the 90s? Because it was like either
Possibly,
Blur
yeah.
or Oasis.
Yes,
So you had to pick a side.
Yeah.
North and south.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
North and South, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I fell foul of that because that was a period of my life when I was a career man and I was moving geographically from place to place, focused on my career. Music was in the background to me and not at the forefront. All I heard was the radio and all the hype about North, South, Blur, Oasis. And I never really got caught up in it. But since I grew older and...
Wiser.
yeah, well, some people wouldn't say
I'll
that.
take that back then.
But for me, I absolutely appreciate the brilliant songwriting of Oasis and the tunes. Great, catchy
some of the
tunes.
songs are great. They really are good tracks, but
Especially,
I just don't like the band.
Especially, this is an important point as well. Especially if you are learning or a guitarist or you're learning guitar, which I've been for the last 2.5 years. You realise that they're so simple, but they're
Yeah.
so effective, and that is a real gift. That's a gift to create something which is catchy and gets everybody's attention, but it's so simple. because, you know, as
It makes it achievable for aspiring songwriters, doesn't it? And I guess that's maybe where their inspiration came from with the Beatles, because the Beatles aren't complicated stuff.
No.
It's quite simple. If you compare it to the Stones, you could argue that some
The
of their stuff
arrangements
is,
can be complicated, but the basic music structure isn't, is it?
yeah, it's quite, especially the early stuff, quite simple.
Yeah.
well, you say that, but there's a lot of chord progressions that the Beatles use, and chords that are very unusual. That one chord, ding,
Ding.
Hard Day's
you
Night.
know straight away. There's no other.
Beatles
There's
chord.
no other chord in the world that is usually that, and you know it instantly.
Kick your guitar over, you've got it. It's the guitar, it's this chord that plays.
You know, sometimes people who don't understand anything about music can create actually more interesting pieces of music. So I've got two examples. One is JK from Jamiroquai. So his band says that they're all like, you know, trained musicians. They all know, you know, what chords follow what and what sounds good with what. But he'll come in one day and he'll be like, I've got this idea for a song, because he isn't playing the instruments, he just sings. And he'll like sort of like riff it out to them. And the guitarist will say that he comes up with the interesting chord progressions because he doesn't know like what note should follow what, because you sort of like, you become a bit of a crack addict for the rules of music. Like,
I
oh,
get
this
that.
needs to go there.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of freedom in not actually knowing anything about music. So that's why they get some of the like interesting melodies and pattern. And another one is James Brown. James Brown used to dictate what he wanted in a song, but he knew nothing about music.
Yeah.
It was just, he knew what he wanted in his head and he'd like try and vocalize what he wants, but he doesn't know anything like structural scales or anything. So that's why a lot of this stuff is quite unique to his sound. So you don't always need to know how to play an instrument to create music, as long as you've got a band, though. You do need a band.
And on that theme, though,
It helps.
Bowie were like that. Although he did know chord structures, he'd throw in these weird chords that shouldn't be there
Yeah.
or wouldn't naturally be that progression or fit.
Is that Life on Mars?
Yeah,
One of them,
because Rick Wakeman used, when he was doing stuff for him, he said, I want you to play this sort of sound. And he said, well, that don't work, but it did.
Yeah.
It did. And he did several, apparently he did it several times, that, didn't it, throughout his career. He'd come up with these unusual progressions.
I'm surprised you never made it.
Yeah, if he'd stuck at it, it'd been all right.
You're not.
And you're not, are you?
No.
Don't like Bowie.
You heathen. Good album,
Good
that,
album.
actually.
Yes.
But Wayne,
No,
do not ever say that.
He
That
talk-
is ridiculous
He
thing
just
to
talks
say.
to music. He can't sing. To me, he just
He
can't
is.
sing.
He is. I don't know whether you've ever heard of this, but there's a guy from the old days, if you like, called Anthony Newley. Ever heard of him?
Mm-hmm.
Bowie actually, if you listen to the early stuff, the Ziggy Stardust era, he has a voice, and the intonation and the voice is almost like, and he said it himself actually, he looked to actually sound a bit like Anthony Newley, and he does,
He does, doesn't he?
doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
but
but-
based his whole singing style around that, didn't he, at that time?
But I cannot believe anybody can say what you've just said.
No,
That's blasphemy, my friend.
I'm not a Bowie fan at all.
Oh my God.
That's why we
He's-
started the podcast.
He's in that area of Oasis to me. He's got some.
Oh,
good,
no.
He's got some good tracks out, but he just
But
can't
he's
sing.
covered so many decades, and he's changed his persona so many times,
And he
and he's
still
appealed
can't-
to so
and he
many,
still hasn't
so
found
many
one that he can sing
sectors of
to.
societies.
But
he
he
is
could
a
sing.
chameleon,
Well, why didn't he then?
But
He just talked to music.
in your opinion.
If only Bowie
In
could
my
have sat
opinion.
down with Wayne and he could have set him right.
I could
Wayne
have
could
had
have put him on the right track.
I could have had a bike ride with him.
yeah.
You could have been his
One of the
Phil
things from the
Spector.
last podcast, we were getting on about these different characters in music. Would you go on a bike ride with him? And we were on about people like Cliff Richard.
No,
Does-
Bono and Shania
Bono.
Twain.
Oh, no, does Cliff Richard
Celine
swear?
Celine Dion.
Of course he does. I think he's a foul mouth blow.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't get that.
Would you go on a bike ride with him?
Cliff Richard.
Is he capable of riding a bike these days?
How dare. I'm
I
sure
know,
there's a
no,
picture
no,
in his
I'm not
calendar
being
somewhere.
disrespectful, but he's getting on a bit, isn't he?
Apparently,
Yeah.
you never forget.
What about Bono? Would you go on a bike ride
In
with
fact,
Bono?
I have a bit of a problem with that, because when I was with the band Tush about 9 years ago, the standing joke was that when I was on stage, they used to take the piss out of me because they said, "Oh, I was like my dancing was a bit like Cliff Richard. So I was a seriously bad period of life.
Well, I remember seeing you that period, and I don't remember you dancing like
Thank
Cliff.
you,
No,
thank
I
you,
don't know.
thank you.
And you ain't got a calendar out yet, have you?
Not this year.
Bono.
No, years ago, you touched on an area of music which now impinges on politics. And I have this view that you should never, unless it's a song of protest, that you should never get into politics. He is too far into politics for his own good, and he annoys the shit out of me. Pardon my French.
You can say what you
And
want.
always
You
pay
can
your
say
tax
what you
bill.
want.
And pay his tax.
But
Be
would
like
you
the
go-
rest of it.
but would
Do
you
you
go on a
think,
bike ride
I
with-
have double standards? Preach, preach, preach. I'll do my thing, though. That is not good.
Would you want to bike ride with him?
No, I'd kill him.
No, but the thing is, you could have all this out with him while you're pedalling away.
What about Celine Dion? Would you have a bike ride with her?
Yeah, why not?
I think they what three that we come up with, want to.
The thing is with Bono,
Would you have a bike ride with Ozzy Osbourne?
Yes.
I don't think he can ride
That
a
would be
bike.
great, wouldn't
Yes. Yeah.
Bono,
You'd have to have
he is-
stabiliser on
He
that.
is
don't you?
political, but he is from that era in music where they believe that music could change the world, and
I believe that
all that.
music.
And they were like a punk band, weren't they, to begin with? So
Yeah,
that
but
is-
music can change the world, but not in the political world. You know, stay out of it. It's not
Yeah.
his. It's not his area. It's not. He don't preach to the great masses about being giving when he has got so much and gives jack shit. Sorry, I do not agree with it.
Yeah.
I'll calm down now.
Well, speaking of Bono
Speaking of Bono,
and his band U2, have you seen any of the footage from the Sphere in Las Vegas?
No.
You've not what?
No.
What?
No, I've not seen it.
I don't believe either of you.
No.
You've not seen?
Have you been asleep for a fortnight, pair of you?
Oh, I don't know where we go with this.
What
one
is
then.
the Sphere?
I just
in
don't
Las
have
Vegas?
time.
Right.
Is it a venue?
This is new venue in Las Vegas, and it's essentially like a huge golf ball as like slightly submerged into the ground, and it's covered in LED lights from the outside. So it's a big TV from the outside. So they like project things like an emoji, like looking at people playing golf, and inside, it's the same. It's a huge pixeled arena, and the band playing is secondary to the experience. So they can put you in the desert. They can put you with birds flying around you.
Wow.
It's incredible. It's absolutely phenomenal. And you two
It
have
literally
opened
is
up.
a game changer.
Wow.
They'd
I'm not going to
said-
get it because I'm not going to connect
They
you.
said on
Let's see if I can find
Planet
it.
Rock that they had done it, and I did mean to look at it, but I forgot.
It's unbelievable. No matter how well we describe it to you, it'll not do it justice. Because, like as Lewis pointed out, it's like this massive golf ball that's been hurled from space and just slightly sunk into ground. It holds 17,500 people.
So that's it from the outside.
Wow. Oh, and it becomes alive, this,
Yeah.
from outside looking at it.
That's from looking outside.
And when you're
from
inside?
inside,
You can see people looking in.
it's
No battery.
that's U2's fault.
I don't understand that. I don't get it. It's just flashing lights inside.
Well, it's a big TV
Show the
screen.
one with the Serengeti plane. Can you see that one?
Uh,
But the thing about it is, it's big cavernous dome, but right at the very bottom, a little stage.
so this is it. This is
Sorry.
suddenly turning into some sort of like desert
How
scene.
have they
So-
seated it?
At this point,
Oh, I
seated it.
see.
Or is it not?
So it
Amphitheatre.
looks like it looks like it's outdoors, but it's indoors.
and they can make
how
it feel
far
transparent
up
so they
does
can
it go?
project the Las
As
Vegas
in-
Strip. So it looks
Wow.
like there's no
What
walls.
would be the
Incredible.
view from like so the back row?
Do you think that detracts from
You
the
see,
music
would you
performance?
would you
though?
be
Yes.
like
Just
looking?
show Wayne that Serengeti thing.
Um,
So he gets an idea.
At this point, you should be telling people to Google it.
Yes,
Yeah.
Google it. Well, you should tell him you're on as well.
I'll bring it up in the middle, so you'll appreciate it. I'm sure.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah.
And so you've got this amphitheatre, and right at the very bottom, you've got this little tiny stage.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, ain't it just? Mind blown or what?
Well, visually it is.
Yeah.
That is
Sonically?
Oh, it's purpose built
got-
for
it's
music.
got 100
It's the only arena purpose built for music. It's littered with speakers and pixels.
something like 150,000 speakers in it. So the sound is good. And it cost 2.2 billion to build. And so they've got your stage at bottom and you've got your band on there. So they're insignificant. It's about
The experience.
this set to music.
Can you imagine Cliff Richard there?
with all these calendars behind him.
Can you imagine if Pink
Flashing-
Floyd was still...
A big walking,
Flashing
talking, living doll.
years of calendars.
Can you imagine if Pink Floyd was still operating? It's just made for them, but unfortunately they're not. But what I liked about it, you've got Bono and U2 down at bottom there, and they're just dots on this little circle. And nobody's watching them. They're watching this, and they're listening to music. There's no ego stage like Bono likes.
Yeah.
There's none of that malarkey. It's just, they're just there for, they could pipe it in really, because nobody's bothered that they're there.
That's a weird experience. That's alien to what is currently we've
They're
all
gonna
been,
build one in
we've all been
London.
programmed to, isn't it?
They're building one in London.
What, as
Yeah,
big
it's
as?
Yeah,
Bigger.
yeah.
Bigger.
Wow.
But people are protesting about it because they don't want the noise pollution, they don't want the light pollution if they live nearby.
Understandably.
But my problem is,
outside of
I
it,
think they should build one up north. Why
And
is
do
everything
on
in
the
London?
outside? What
'Cause
they
that's
can do
where
on
the money is.
inside. If you
Sadly.
take to a big
Bring it
eye
to
that
Birmingham,
blinks.
middle of the country.
What, from
Everyone
outside?
can access it.
Yeah, well,
Really?
Yeah, you should look at it on your
Oh,
phone.
well, I'll have a
Oh, 2 conversations in this podcast.
I'm sorry.
Don't be getting that, everyone. Have to tune into that side.
Well,
It's
this one was more
stereo.
interesting than that side.
it's the left ear. This is the right ear.
So what were you saying?
Oh, we're just talking about how they're going to build one in London. But
Yeah.
on my issue is, why is everything in London? They should bring it to the middle of the country so kind of everyone can
Well,
easily get
yeah,
access.
I'm in support of that. Why should everything be in London? We know why they're doing that in London.
They've got the big wheel. What more do they want?
Yeah.
They can keep the bleeding big wheel.
Oh, it's Mr.
Well,
Mr.
that's not
Grinch.
going on tour. Don't worry.
Mr. Grinch.
This is not new, though. Look at HS2.
Yeah.
You know, it's not news.
They can keep that at all.
But this one in London, that is supposedly trying to get, they've got everything in place. They just need Sadiq Khan to say, yeah, get on with it. It will be bigger. It'll hold something like 24,000 people. And it's going to be, instead of being 150 metres wide, it's going to be 200 metres wide.
Where?
Just outside of London.
Just
can't
out,
remember
it's just out of suburbs somewhere. Of course, they're complaining because of light pollution.
where. But in their defence, they have offered the neighbours blackout
Free
blinds. Free tickets and blackout blinds, yeah. Free tickets to Cliff.
Because
Free,
the
we're
outside
free
can make it like a
calendar
big
and a
eye
chamois
that
leather.
blinks.
Now, that is news. That's better news than that news you brought to the table.
I can't believe the biggest news in music for the past maybe 6
Ever.
months, and Wayne's never heard of it.
I must say,
No,
I
I've
haven't.
heard of it. I just didn't. I knew they'd done the concert, but I just never got around to looking at it. I just didn't.
I
I've
thought
never
it
even
was
heard it.
just going to be a given that you'd seen it because
Yeah,
it's
it's
been on
huge.
everything. Everything.
Well, I'm one of these people that try and stay away from the mainstream media because they lie every day to us. So, you know, I have my own views on that particular subject, you know, of people just behaving like sheep in this society. But that's a different subject.
And podcast.
The moon landing was fake. The earth is flat.
Well, I'm not a flat earther, but I have very, very specific ideas on life, and that, you know, if you're a critical thinker, you should think about what people and the mainstream media are telling you, and you should think about how the evidence stacks up for it. And you know what? There's so much that we've been told that is total nonsense. And it's laughable how many people in this country believe the shit that we... But that, as you say, Wayne, is a different podcast.
But it would be all right if we set it to music.
Yeah, or if you sung it.
Put some strings behind it.
Well, there's a lot of music actually that's coming out that covers that particular subject, but we won't cover that. Actually,
what was your musical journey then? Where do your roots lie in music?
well, probably like most people of my age, I grew up with pop music, David Bowie as an example. But I went through the 70s. I mean, here's an example. I can remember vividly the hot summer of 1976 because it was a period of my life that was so so important, and I have so many. You know, we all have memories, and we can remember certain things, and there's periods of our life we have no recollection of. Well, this era set in 1976, I just passed my driving test. I got my first car. I discovered what you could do in your car. If you know what I mean.
Reverse.
Play music on radio.
Backwards, turn left,
I
turn
went
right.
out in the car with my mates. We went to pubs. We listened to music in the pubs. And in them days, it was jukeboxes in the pubs. And on the jukebox, I can remember the 7 of 76. And there was David Bowie. There was Dancing Queen. There was so many records that I still have vivid memories of because of that informative, wonderful part of my life, and I was very lucky to enjoy that. But my musical journey started, I suppose, with that. My first albums were Electric Warrior, T-Rex, Slade, and that glam rock period, which was incredibly
Difficult to avoid in that period of time.
yeah, it was all glam rock, you know.
yeah.
The Sweet, there was Gary Glitter. I can't say it, but you know, it was.
You do regularly.
And the Glitter
You'll be
band,
surprised how often he comes up.
Amazing.
He would like to
I saw them live.
And
I saw
mentioned-
Elton John live at the Cardiff Castle. He was amazing. So 10cc, another amazing band in that era.
Yeah.
You know, who were brilliant, ahead of their time in record production. And you know, Graham Goldman, what a songwriter. He's written songs for so many people. So that was my starting point, if you like. And then, like most people in my age, you grew into rock music and you grew into soul, and you had an eclectic mix of all of this stuff going on. As I mentioned earlier, though, you know, when I went off in my career, music took a little bit of a back step because I was just traveling and focusing on raising a family, a young family, and all the rest of it. But then the 90s came, and I saw, you know, and I enjoyed Blur and I enjoyed Oasis and all the rest of it, but not that much because it wasn't that important to me at that period. But it's interesting you say, what is your kind of musical journey? Because music to me now is an incredibly important part of my life. And it started about, 12 years ago when I was in the Woodlands Club in Rotherham, and I was dragged onto stage by an open mic, and I started singing, and I loved it, and I thought, oh, this is great, this. And then Johnny Fox said, try and, you know, sing with us and see if you can do it. And I started that, and since I've become a singer in a band, my music interest has grown massively. And I've learned an awful lot from other people. I've learned in the last decade, I've learned so much about rock music and blues music that I never knew existed. And that's been from the guys that I've been within the band. And so from that period, and when I retired, I then had time on my hands, and I began, you know, I started guitar lessons, and I've come, you know, collecting guitars, and I love the whole subject matter of guitars. So yeah, music is very important to me, but it started very, very much like everybody else of my age with all of that era. And it just grew from there. But yeah, incredibly important music.
Did you only start singing sort of 12 years ago then?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I always thought you'd done it prior to that.
No, I was. It all started because Debs, my wife, took me to the Woodlands Club because her uncle was a bass player here, and her other uncle is a professional drummer in London in the what do you call it, the music theatre era, West End shows and all that.
Yeah.
And he's also toured for 15 years with soul singer, what's her name? Can't remember. Anyway, he's a professional drummer. So we came to see them here, and it was great. And Thursday evenings, open mic night, everybody started doing a bit, and so I was dragged up and did it, you know, a little bit, and it was great, and I enjoyed it. And so people started saying, well, you can do it. And I thought, Really? Okay, I'll have another go then. And it grew from there. So that's it, really. Great. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, and still enjoying it to this day.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. There's obviously frustrations, but frustrations in life everywhere.
I've got a question then. So from last one of the previous episodes, I asked what makes good music, but how would you describe what is music to like an alien? Like, how would you say?
That's a good question.
Like, you could say, okay, well, music's composed of 8 notes, and there's usually some sort of drum beat behind it, and there's usually historically a purpose of dance. But how would you describe music?
To an alien, no, I think it's simpler than that. It's fundamentally it's a vibration. It's a frequency of sound. That's it. It's nothing more to an alien.
Well, there's certain things that frequency can enhance cognitive behavior. If you listen to 40 hertz on headphones, it can apparently increase your cognitive brain powers or somewhat, or there's certain frequencies that can help you get to sleep.
Yeah, and there's certain spiritual people that have certain frequencies that actually raise your consciousness and raise your elevation and your vibration. So it's good for your body. And they say, I don't know, no expert, but on that particular subject, they say that rhythm is fundamentally, going back in time, a reflection of your heartbeat. And that is why we like, as a human being, that is fundamentally why, one of the reasons why rhythm and a beat is important, or we recognise, or we can accept.
And that's the part of the music that, no matter what nationality, no matter what language you speak, that's the part that everybody recognises.
Yeah.
That beat.
I heard...
Well, that heartbeat is it's known in blues as shuffle. It's like triplet. That's what you play as a triplet, as a shuffle blues.
So it's something to do with that when we started to walk. I mean, this goes way back into human developmentation, but it was when we started to walk on 2 feet upright. It's the pounding of walking, or like hunting something down or chasing something down, like the variations.
The faster the foot pace, the more excited, and the faster the heartbeat, and the more elevated your attention, as if you were a hunter-gatherer.
Yeah, listening to things and you see yourself running.
There's all sorts of theories, but to your question is, to an alien.
Yeah, how would you describe music?
To an alien, obviously it would be the science behind it, which is vibration. But to an alien,
to somebody who doesn't know,
to tell an alien what it means as a human being,
that's
then for me it's about emotion.
Yeah, that's just one word. Yeah. Well, that was easy. I thought it was a difficult question. One word.
Well, there's a million
answers.
One word. There's a million answers, but that's the one that's paramount to me. It's emotion, whether it's happiness, sadness, melancholy, whether it's excitement, whether it's tears or joy. It's all encompassed within
It
music.
conjures up one or the other, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard something funny on a YouTube show, and somebody was saying that music is the only art form that's performed during and after a funeral. Like no other art form is used at a funeral. No one's going to whip out a painting or do a stand-up comedy sketch.
No, not.
But music is used.
Yeah, well,
to symbolize somebody's life. Like, so somebody will pick a song, and they'll, 3 minutes of somebody singing to some backing music can mean so much to someone.
Because it can bring people together, can't it?
Yeah.
It can unify people.
You're right. And the other thing about music is it can transport you to a memory in time.
Oh, well, that's where when I asked you about what your journey was, it took you back to 1976.
Which is, absolutely.
Because all that year, as you described, is you like that period of music because you like that period in your life.
Yeah.
You were out with your friends, you got your car, and that's an emotive memory, isn't it?
The weather was amazing, the drinking was amazing, the experiences of life was educational.
Steady down. Yeah. All right then. On the flip side, what in music don't you like?
I absolutely detest this modern music where there's just the and there's absolutely no melody,
Wait,
no tune,
Mongolian
and
throat
it's
singing?
just screaming. I don't know what they call it, but I actually heard it at a music festival in a tent, in a marquee, and I thought someone was having a heart attack or something. It was horrendous. And I mean, it's not that I don't like it. I don't understand it. I just don't get it.
No.
What is that? What is the name for that, Louis?
Well, I thought you were doing Mongolian throat singing, but one could only presume it's maybe like thrash metal or something like that, is it? Or
Thrash metal.
is it
Death metal or
is
something
it
on them lines,
Swedish
isn't it?
metal?
No, it was almost like
Screaming down the microphone. What's all that about?
throat-wrenchingly,
Like
excruciatingly
emo
bad.
metal or something?
I think it's this death metal, isn't it? They call it, and it's just basically growling or screaming. There's some words involved, but you can't tell what it is.
Yeah.
Well, you can't tell what tune it is. You can't tell anything. It's just a noise. But us, me probably sounding like a granddad, so I apologise.
No. I think
Again, there'll be people out there that love it.
Yeah?
And one thing good for it, I mean, it's not, I don't enjoy that music at all, but there is a good side to it, and that is that they are being true to their expression. Now, it is crap, but I'd probably, if I was going to take something to a desert island and I had a lot of choice, I'd probably have that over some album track of Britney Spears where everything's like super compressed and it's been written by a team of people.
I wouldn't.
There's something more real about that than there is than that.
No,
like
I
that,
wouldn't.
the super pop.
I'd go with Britney.
I'd go with Britney Spears.
I'd have to go with Britney.
Not that I like the music, but there's a tune there somewhere.
But didn't
And,
they
you know,
use
at
Britney
least-
Spears for torture for some of the captives in like Iraq and stuff like that? Like they used
They
like
did, yeah.
they used
Yeah,
like
but they can use any music
I think they
loud
used
and
Hit Me
loud
Baby
and-
One More Time as like sound torture.
But
just
they
had it on
did
loop
do
for
the
like
same
3
with,
weeks.
with classical music in the Second World War, didn't they?
Did they?
Yeah, played it really loud.
That's when war was sophisticated. A
it was.
gentleman's war.
So what do you not like then? What is your kind of worst nightmare for music?
We used it's upon a broader spectrum. I narrowed it down a bit last week because we talked about it last week, and I can't stand a song that starts with a very rudimentary drum pattern. You know, like 4/4. I don't know the technical term for it. It's
Well, that's 4/4 rhythm. So basically, what you're saying is you don't like boring tracks.
I don't like obvious tracks. I like them to use some spark of inspiration or an imagination. It interests me, excite me. Don't give me that.
Yeah, I get that, but that's not. I hate that music. That's just a bit boring.
No, I don't. No, yeah, I find it boring. It turns me off because
Yeah,
what's to follow? They've
be an
already set the
interesting tune.
standard by giving me that to start with. So what's to follow is not going to be any good to me.
Right?
Stuff like grime.
Oh, I'm with you on that.
No,
Yeah,
just
I don't get it.
I don't get that
I don't
at
get it.
all. Don't like grime and all this wiggity whack shit that they do. Boom, 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 yeah, and all that.
Well, rap is a very interesting subject because rap, to me, I really enjoyed early rap. I enjoyed the birth of rap, which was Sugar Hill Gang. Hip,
Yeah, it's a good track.
hip, hip hop, you don't stop the rock until the bam bam boogie. Say up jump the boogie, the rhythm of the boogity beat, etc. But the point is, that was great rap because it was sung rap. And then Slim Shady and the man was great, but modern day smacky bitch up rap is not my kind of thing.
No,
Well,
no.
I guess
When you got to
just-
like gangster rap, things like that, I thought, well, that's the wrong tool to use to incite criminal behaviour. I didn't like it.
Precisely, and it's
I didn't like it.
promoted. Oh, let's go. This rap is representative of gang warfare and shootings, and I don't understand why it was promoted and why it was so popular in America.
it was a small minority that took it to gang
Great
culture.
heights that they took it to a huge audience.
But you could argue that the same sort of happened within rock music, you know, like especially in the 80s with the sort of like heavier metal stuff. I think with the Sugar Hill Gang, that's like hip hop. So the purists would break it down. You've got hip hop, and then you've got in the 90s, it was gangster rap. So Tupac, Biggie Smalls, gangster rap. When Eminem came along, the term was like monster rock, like horror rock. So it was like pantomimed up, it was hamped up
Okay.
to be monstrous. But
I
it
mean,
was
don't get me wrong, Eminem's
he's a fantastic lyricist.
he's brilliant.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
He is absolutely brilliant. He's not my cup of tea, but
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's
he
talented,
is
and
brilliant.
unacceptable. There's
Yeah.
a lot of rap.
I mean,
I don't
I mean,
find
this
acceptable.
grime, is it grime
No.
stuff that's out? Nah, I just don't get all that stuff at all.
Like there's ways of making it sound interesting. The people we've just been speaking about, they actually make it sound interesting, and they have topics that are interesting. Speaking of rap, though, there has been some news over the past couple of weeks that they've arrested a man. I think it's in Las Vegas over the killing of Tupac Shakur.
Yeah, many years later. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
I mean, apparently it's like been the worst kept secret. He's like been talking about it all the time in podcasts and stuff. And there's a
put it in the book. Put it in the
admitting
book,
to
didn't
doing
he?
it.
yeah, well, it's all like
He was
bragging
in the
thing.
car
but-
when he got killed, wasn't
yeah,
Yeah,
but
he told a friend he didn't have any alternative. He had to. He had to kill him. He told his friend because he had to, because it was either him or me.
Yeah.
It's really weird how it's come out so many years later and how kind of open he's been about it.
Yeah,
Weird.
like you said, there's been the worst kept secret,
Yeah,
hasn't it?
when he got arrested, you can go on YouTube and you can watch the body cam footage, and he's actually criticizing the police because he's like, "Why didn't you bring the media in?" Like he wanted all the press attention, or like the media like chasing him down, like he wanted the OJ scene.
Yeah, right.
It
Yeah.
was just don't give him that.
He just went
Don't give
outside
him
for a walk and got arrested.
that. Yeah. No.
Crazy.
But I don't know whether that's that the police over there weren't very good because it's taken them so long, or it's
They
just
didn't
been
give a
such
shit.
Yeah, they are getting a lot of Christmas.
Probably thank
They
God
are
for
getting a lot
that.
of Christmas for that, aren't they?
Yeah.
But people are asking that same question. You knew all this before. Why didn't you do anything about it then? They say that they've got some new evidence now, but the only new evidence I can make out from what they're saying is that somebody's put it in a book. But
Yeah.
they had it before.
I look forward to the Netflix documentary complaining about the police work.
Well, it's that old story, isn't it? You know. But at the end of the day, it's not going to bring him back. But getting somebody for it, yeah, I agree with that. What about Biggie Smalls? And he's be the next one, won't it? Somebody be admitting to that one.
Wow.
But this is
What
what, we're
about
going back
JR?
to before. It were East Coast against West Coast, something like that.
Yeah.
And it was this gangster rap. And that's what they were promoting. Oh, this. And then they get shot and they think, oh, wow, I wonder why did he do that? Because you were promoting it.
Yeah, it's no surprise.
No.
But speaking of Tupac,
Well,
Jimmy Savile.
Again.
Well, Gary Glitter was mentioned earlier.
Again.
And I just
Double G?
that
Double
sparked
G?
my imagination. Now, there's
Really?
currently a BBC drama called The Reckoning, and it's about Jimmy Savile, played by Steve Coogan.
Yeah.
And he plays it very well. Not that I ever met the man, so I can't compare it. But something that I learned about Jimmy Savile and music is that he was the inventor of the dual deck DJ thing.
Really?
So it was his invention to have two decks at the same time, so you could splice between them.
Wow.
are we going to thank him for that?
He was good for
I wasn't
something
going to
then.
thank him for it. It was quite handy, wasn't it?
Well, yes.
So it's his fault.
Yeah,
So if you-
unfortunately, yeah, it's a
Yes.
bad
Here's
area.
another
that,
question then.
Go on then.
Here's another question. One of my very good friends, Stuart from Nottingham, is...
Not Stuart from Nottingham.
Stuart from Nottingham.
The very fella.
Please come in.
Come on down. He was a very, very... in the club scene, the DJing scene, he was very big at one stage. And he's getting on now, but he still does DJing and all the rest of it. You won't thank me for saying that. But he's a lovely guy, and we've had this little argument for years because he knows I play in a band. And it's this argument, which is, I, in a drunken moment, says to him, as a DJ, you would be absolutely nothing without musicians, because all you do is play, mix, mess about with what musicians do. And his retort is, yeah, but we make some of it better. And I thought, not much. And then he says, come to one of my gigs and come and see. So I'm not a clubber, I'm not a, take an E and go mad. I'm not one of those. I was way, I passed that era, but I did go. And what I appreciated was that, in my view, DJs, good DJs, can read an audience, and they can elevate an audience, and they can almost massage them into a frenzy, and they get them up, and they get them and they get everybody going and dance just with the music and the beat and which I never realized before. So, you know, there is a real art to some DJing, a good DJs. They're not just putting records on.
They don't get stadium.
They do.
No, what I'm saying, they don't get stadium filling audiences because they're no good.
Exactly.
They do get big audiences.
Well,
like your mates, Iron Maiden, they get bigger audiences than them.
Which was amazing to me because as an older category man, I never, you know, that era of raves, if you like, passed me, and I kind of got into it late. But
It's like, I often thought about, you know, this Fat Boy Slim. I often thought, how does he keep going? He's only a DJ.
yeah.
But they're getting 30,000 people.
And of course, latter life, in latter days, DJs now actually do play their own keyboards and they do put their own beat tracks together because computer beats are easy. You just press a button. So, yeah, I appreciate that now. So my arguments with my friend Stuart were a bit lame. But, you know, I still believe that DJs wouldn't be there without musicians.
I think that's true. It's a good point because they're essentially just resampling what someone's already created.
In the main.
But what they're very good at is probably what we were talking about before, like the sort of like the human way of resonating with a beat.
Yeah.
And when you're saying the massage him into a frenzy, they can build them up to like a bit where there's a turnaround and a bass drops and the whole crowd
There's
just
a drop.
goes, yeah,
Boom, and the place erupts.
The beat,
Yeah, they do.
will take
They
them
go
there.
nuts on
Yeah.
drop.
I've been there.
People
I've experienced
are-
it.
Yeah.
And you know what? It tingles at my back. I'm really serious. It's amazing.
People get addicted to that pattern of that repetition, and then as soon as that breaks and then it gets reformed, there's something inside that just it's joyous.
Yeah.
And it
You can
happens.
see
You
it,
could
you
say
can-
it
yeah.
happens.
Euphoric.
You can see them all waiting for drop, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just waiting for drop. And then when it drops, they just go
But you know, we're
nuts.
talking about music. That's a different area of music that we haven't in this podcast touched on. But it is important to a lot of people.
Oh,
you
it
know,
is, yeah.
Hacienda,
Like-
Manchester was absolutely amazing. But Hacienda was amazing not just because of DJs and what they did, but also they invited a lot of great musicians into their club, and that club was a starting point for a lot, not just Blue Mondays and, you know, Beza. It was a lot of other great artists that went through there, but that was fundamentally a dance club.
There was a huge scene that influenced a lot of music coming out of that area. Yeah. What filtered out into what would be indie sort of scene, the 90s guitar. Indie didn't come along until like late 90s, but that definite scene, yeah.
It's like you
Hugely
said, though,
important.
there's thousands go to these raves, isn't there?
But this was right.
There's thousands go to these raves.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there is.
But what I want to know is why is there not a
they're
bar?
round.
There's never a bar at these
No.
raves.
Oh,
There's
come
not.
on, you know why.
And there's just bottles of water, isn't there? That's it.
I don't get it myself.
It makes no sense to me.
You have got to dehydrate then, haven't you? Yeah. No.
Not for me.
Don't go there. Subject matter, turn.
These DJs, I don't know names of them, but they're bringing in all these big crowds, and they are the big celebrities, aren't they? These mass audiences.
I went to see a guy
just
called. In
dancing.
fact, the band I'm with played at a place in Bedfordshire, and not going to name the names, but we were on, and straight after us was a brilliant DJ called Brandon Block. Don't know whether you ever heard of him, but he was a big name in the 90s and noughties, and he was amazing. I mean, I absolutely loved it. It was brilliant, and all you know. That was an experience on its own, and I loved it. It was great. And I'm not a great lover of that kind of music, you know.
But this is what this podcast is about. It's about music, and you just say it's something that you're introduced to,
Yeah,
and you've told us a story about it and related that, and that's what we're here for.
and you know what? I think the most important point here is don't close your mind.
Yeah.
Be open to it because you never know.
Yeah.
Wayne,
Let Bowie in.
No.
There are these
I
funny
have
videos.
tried. I have tried.
There are these funny videos that you can find on YouTube, and it's DJing has gone wrong. So you'll see them behind a desk, and they're doing all this sort of stuff, but someone's snuck behind them and they're filming them from behind, and there's nothing in this desk. So there's like a little lip where you can't see.
It's
the
all
hands.
off here.
No, but there's just nothing there. They're pretending they're doing all the dance moves.
All right.
Yeah.
Good.
Or like the thing will fall back and there's
And it's all
nothing there.
recorded.
Yeah.
It's just plain recorded.
Don't knock that because they're doing it on stage now anyway with backing tracks. Big
Milli
top bands are
Vanilli.
doing it. Lip syncing and backing tracks, they're all doing it.
Well,
Apart from Tush.
Never. Never. Never.
on that note,
Goodbye.
well, that was quick, Wayne.
You couldn't wait to get out of there, could you?
Like he was busting for a week.